it's another side that like wants to take more, wants to go that one more round, because like going that one more round when you don't think you can, that's what makes all the difference in your life. You know what I mean?
Hello and welcome to another episode of One More Round, the Rocky Series podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me today we have returning Kyle. Kyle is back. We're very happy to see him. We missed him. And before we get to Kyle and the events of last episode, we have a special guest co-host today, filling in for the lovely Katie. Almost as lovely. We have Adrian. How you doing?
Thank you very much. Yeah, not quite as... Yeah, she's very... lovely looking lady. I'm not a bit grizzly right now.
Yeah, he has a little bit more facial hair than Katie.
You took the joke from me. I was just gonna say. He only has a little bit more facial hair than Katie.
Slightly more.
Yeah, she's out. Oh, man, where is she? We'll let her talk about her vacation.
Hopefully no one's giving her a suitcase and saying, hey, could you bring this back for me? I'll give you $10,000. Just don't look inside though.
Yeah, be very careful, local law enforcement. Yeah, we miss her very much, and we look forward to having her return, of course, in the next episode. Last episode, Kyle wasn't there because of some timing mix-ups, and we want to thank Andy from the Van Damme podcast for filling in. And Adrian, thank you so much for coming in short notice. You have your own podcast, and you've been on this show before, but why don't you plug your podcast first? What you and the boys do?
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Yeah, so me and my three other co-hosts, we do a retro gaming podcast called Arcade Attack, and we do it fortnightly now. So I think that's the same as you, Ryan. We used to do weekly episodes. It got a bit too much, and now we just churn out episodes. We record in batches, and we just release loads of weird things, topics, games, top 10s, whatnot.
You guys do a great job, and you have a great following. I see your reviews and your rankings, and you have a good core group of guys, and that's part of the fun of the podcast. And I know when I do it with my other hosts and of course with Katie and Kyle for the Rocky podcast, you form a friendship, and that's almost part of what it is. It's a nice little hangout, and it's basically like going to the pub or the bar without actually spending money at the pub or the bar, and just having to talk and other people get to join the conversations. I appreciate you being a fan of the show, but more importantly, you've also been on the show a few times. You were saying before we started, the last episode you guest host was the street argument or whatever that was between Adrian and Rocky when Rocky throws his jacket on the street. When I talked about that scene that was an awkward acting scene, did you know the part I was going to...
Yeah, I did. I could picture it. I don't think we mentioned it when we did Go in the Distance. We were talking about other things during that period. But when you said it, I was like, okay, I know what we're talking about.
Okay. I'm really excited for today's video portion of the movie. There's some scenes that, put it this way, I've seen the rest of the Workprint. I kept watching it as I was doing the editing to put the Workprint with the original together. I watched it right to the end, and which we won't be doing today. We'll be doing it with Katie. Don't worry, Katie will be handling the fight. But for the street fight, I recommend we just watch the Workers Print version because it is done so differently and so interestingly. I don't want to spoil anything that it would be hard for me to, because I like intersperse the original with the Workprint where applicable, but there's so much different the way it's hard to explain. It's a wholly different scene using the same footage. We all know the street fight so well that I don't think there's any reason to rehash it.
If the tone's very different, if you keep stopping and starting and interchanging, I think it's better just to watch it in one big chunk and let it flow properly. That's what I would probably prefer to listen to. Everyone knows the Rocky 5 fight.
That's just it. And I found that the Workers Print was, I don't want to spoil it. It's going to be so much fun to talk about. So we'll get to that when we get to, have you seen the Workers Print of the final fight? I can't remember, Kyle.
No, I only see the Workers Print when I'm on the show. As the kids would say, I raw dog this podcast. I don't prepare or do anything for it.
Oh, stop it. You bring your knowledge. We miss your knowledge. Okay, so let's get to some YouTube comments here, and I think some stuff here will be fun to go over. We got from Andy Grew, of course, Andy, who guested on the last episode. He said the final run up the steps with Junior at the end of Rocky 5 should have been the entire run. Then he ended with Rocky and Junior hands raised by the statue.
We've missed that really great joke about the earring, though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I think you could edit out the earring joke. Yeah. Not only did it not age well today, it wasn't even that funny back then. Then we have from Pil Sung Korean Kickboxing Group or YouTube channel. He said that there's a new movie on Netflix apparently called Nonnas, Nonnas.
Oh, yeah. My wife showed that to me, like the preview for it.
Oh.
I think I'm going to watch it this week. I'm off this next week, so I have some time to watch the movies, and that's one of them.
It has Vince Vaughn in it, who I love. He's a great actor. And apparently Talia Shire's in it.
Oh, it's funny. My wife didn't say that. Her selling point to me was Lorraine Bracco's in it. For listeners, if you don't know, she was Henry Hill's love interest in Goodfellas.
And she was in
And it's The Sopranos. That's funny. Even though I love New York or New Jersey mob shit, I never got into Sopranos. Like, I just couldn't.
Interesting. And not everyone watches everything. There's people that don't like the Rocky films, but
they're just wrong. They're objectively wrong.
People would say that about your Sopranos.
Yeah, it's true enough.
I don't jump on bandwagons or just say things just because. But it really is just a very well done show. It's a very good show. I don't know if people are trolling me at this point now, but the over the top discussion is not ending, and the comments keep coming in. Pil Sung says, going back to Over the Top. Do you think Hugh Jackman's Real Steel was inspired by Over the Top and to an extent the Rocky films with the robot boxing? Have you guys seen those movies, Real Steel with Hugh Jackman?
No.
Oh, it's funny. I haven't either. It's funny because I'm a huge Hugh. I like Hugh Jackman. I think he's a great actor, and I've seen a lot of his films. Like, it's that one for some reason just, I guess it was a combination, didn't really interest me as much as it just passed me by. I heard it's pretty good, though. I've heard it's a decent movie. Robots are boxing, and I know he has some sort of relationship storyline with his son. Real Steel. Okay, so you both haven't seen it. He goes on to say that Rocky and his family should have been at the Tommy Union fight instead of watching it at home. Okay, so he agrees with Andy that the family should have been at the arena, not at home, watching the fight, that the betrayal should have taken inside the arena, if that's fair.
Yeah, to me, it's like an ultimate cue, though, that Rocky was not given tickets to that or anything. Like, the fact that he wasn't invited to Tommy's fight kind of says it all, though.
Yeah, that is a good point, though, Kyle. I guess he could have bought a ticket.
Okay, imagine if the ticket he could afford is like way back there, though. That's almost worse, even.
You think the venue or the management or somebody could have comped him something? I
think if you're a Rocky Balboa, you could just show up to something like that and they'd make a seat for you.
I think so. Yeah. But that's not Rocky's style. He just wouldn't do that, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He goes on to say a couple of days later, they could have had the confrontation leading to the street fight, or better yet, Rocky comes out of retirement. We get a training montage and there's a proper showdown in the ring. Definitely a missed opportunity. Still, some things could be fixed with a bit of editing. After the Russia scenes, skip the airport, press conference, and Junior. Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, just do a 5 years later caption. And at that point, Rocky is already retired and he's lost his fortune for whatever reasons. And then you remove the entire brain damage plot as well.
If he didn't have brain damage, he'd be like, oh, I lost my fortune. Okay, I'll just fight again.
Or maybe the over the top acting brain damage part of it. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I think you can have injury to your brain, but not necessarily be full R word, as they say. Because Rocky already has that vibe anyway, just by virtue of who he is. Like, he's had that since the first film. And I love the Rocky character in Rocky Balboa in the Creed movies. He's a different guy than Rocky 5, but he's still like, he's broken things that have never
Cloud.
Yeah, like, that's just classic Rocky. That's who he's always been, right? Yeah. And you could say, yeah, the guy's been concussed one too many times and can't get a license. That's believable. You don't have to be like, hey, yo.
Yeah, I agree. All right, from Escape 5150, they said, I think when Rocky said to Paulie, no, actually, I want both of your, we'll start with you, Adrian. Remember that part in the film where they're watching the fight with Tommy and Paulie says, hey, why are you so stressed out? Relax. And then Rocky says, it ain't him. Okay. Rocky says to Paulie, it ain't him. Escape 5150 thing said he was trying to say it's not Tommy's fault because he's being brainwashed by Duke. So my question was, what is Rocky referring to? That it's very ambiguous. It doesn't make sense because he's walking around. It ain't him, Paul. It ain't him. So why is he so amped up and anxious if it ain't Tommy? And what is it then that's causing him distress? Because he never explicitly says what it is.
I think he feels like a loser again. The fact that he's not fighting again, he's training, but he's not quite the same. He's not very good at explaining his feelings in his head, and I think personally it may be a little bit of depression possibly, and doesn't really see where he fits in this new sort of part of his life really. But I think it is Tommy, if I had to be honest.
Yeah, that's what you think. It's like he's all nervous about the fight, sure, his outcome and everything, but then again, he's so excited by the win too. So I don't know. I feel like his actions don't represent what he says there.
I'm not remembering this scene.
Okay, so let me explain a little bit better. So they're watching the fight in the basement. Paulie's sitting at the couch. Rocky's pacing back and forth, all nervous.
Okay.
He's kind of like amped up and kind of nervous and like pacing. And Paulie's like, "Why are you all stressed out? Relax, Rocky. He ain't worth it. He ain't worth the stress. He ain't worth your emotions." And then Rocky says, "It ain't him, Paulie. It ain't him."
I think he's lying.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Okay, you know what my brain is trying to do right now is I'm trying to rationalize a way that it isn't him and see if it sounds good. And I'm having a hard time doing that.
Yeah.
What comes to my mind really is that Rocky is living vicariously through Tommy. And so Rocky's nervous. Boxers are usually nervous before a fight. They try not to show that, of course, but it's only natural. If you're going into a combat situation where you get seriously hurt and people are watching you, you're going to be nervous. He's living through Tommy, so he's nervous too. He might mean it ain't him as in, it has nothing to do with Tommy. I'm feeling nervous right now. This is just me. I'm in my own head right now, but
yeah, it doesn't make
sense. I have no idea.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't have any idea either because his actions and body language, and Paulie's correct. Like he's looking at his brother-in-law thinking, "You're all amped up before this fight that we're about to watch on TV. Why? Why are you all, like, he ain't worth it? Let's just watch but Rocky is more invested. Maybe he wants to lead on, or who knows?
Yeah, it's like Paulie doesn't understand the idea of living through someone in that sense, right? He doesn't get that. So in Paulie's mind, it's all, this Tommy thing's over. Let's move on. He's not invested in it. Rocky's invested in it. And even though Tommy screwed him, his mind can't switch off like that.
All right, this is our new where does Paulie live?
Yeah. I think the evidence for Paulie living there is better than the evidence for this, right? Like this is totally ambiguous.
It's really ambiguous, and he says it twice, and I believe he says it again in the bar at the end. I think I heard it. We'll see if we catch it.
In Rocky, the more I think of it too, he is really in denial about Tommy. He thinks Tommy's going to thank him. He's happy for Tommy. I actually do kind of like the idea that he sees Tommy as like a victim of Duke, and he's not really against Tommy at this point. He definitely doesn't like Duke. He has no beef with Tommy. He just sees Tommy as just like a dumb kid who got bamboozled.
Kieran Healy says, "I have a conspiracy theory." I think Kyle will like this one. That the robot from Rocky 4 was the accountant, and that it decided it had enough of Paulie and it took action.
Yep.
There you go. Thank you, Kieran. That is a theory we did not come up with, so I appreciate that. All right. Longtime listener of the show, Albert Hendrickson, wrote in. Now, he wrote in before, and I don't know if you caught this. I know, Kyle, I can't remember if you were on this episode. Oh, no, it was with Andy. He wrote, and I read the email on that episode where he feels, Kyle, that there is proof in the film that does indicate it's longer than 1 year of time.
Oh, okay. What's the proof?
He didn't say in that email, and I said, well, that's great, buddy, but what's your proof?
Okay, I got to invoke Hitchens' razor, which is that which is asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence.
Yeah, I love it. That's so true.
Could the proof be, don't they watch Christmas Vacation? And wasn't that released in 1989? Maybe that could be the proof.
Oh, Adrian, you're stepping in a pile of shit here with Rocky timeline stuff.
I know.
Are you sure this is the rabbit hole you want to go down? Yeah. You bring up a good point. You're right, because if that fight the Rocky IV fight took place, what year proper was it? 85. So
yeah,
you're right. So 4 years later, they're watching. All right, Christmas Vacation. You're right. That could have been because in the workers' print, it was a different film. Funny enough. Yeah. I think I mentioned that, but I can't remember what film it was. Okay, so Albert says, hey, it's Albert again. In your last episode, you invited me, that's a nice way, to provide evidence from the movie to support my theories. After thoroughly reviewing the movie, I can honestly admit that there is no direct evidence to prove my 2 to year 3 timeline. Okay, I appreciate that, Albert. Most of the evidence is circumstantial, and there isn't much evidence against my idea either. So there you go. This is one of those things, Paulie's apartment living. Like there's, no matter what side you're on, you can make evidence. This film is ridiculous with this kind of things. He goes on to say, however, I believe there is substantial evidence to challenge your 4-month timeline. It's not ours. It's not my timeline. Don't put this on me, Albert. This is the movie's timeline that they make us think. Anyways, he goes on to say, here's his evidence. The movie starts on December 25th in the shower scene. Okay. They return quickly, as Rocky says, he just wants to go home. The auction happens in winter based on the weather and trees. They move back to the old house, occurs in the winter again based on the weather and the clothing of bystanders. Robert starts public school mid-year, likely in February or March. The kids are wearing heavy coats. I think this is what tripped you up, as you may have assumed it was the beginning of the school year. That's true. We thought it might have been September.
In my mind, I was thinking it was September, but yeah, just because you just have to go to school whenever you go to school, like when you move to a neighborhood.
Yeah, they lost their house mid-school year.
Yeah, that makes sense, to be fair.
Yeah. He goes on to say, fun fact, Tommy, now this is a big key here. Check this out. Tommy says he's had 8 pro fights before he met Rocky. He had 8 pro fights. So it's more reasonable for him to have 15 fights in a calendar year. So his record at the end would be 22-0 still, with the 8 before.
It'd be 14 fights.
I helped him. He said 15,
okay.
but because Tommy says 22-0, I think, to Rocky, but I helped him with the 23.
So that's also a good point. Bring up the 8 previous ones. You can. Yeah.
So when Tommy says I'm 22-0, he didn't say I'm 22-0 under you particularly.
Yeah. I'll take that.
That does help with how much he fought in a short amount of time. The Christmas scene is obvious, so we're at least 1 year removed from Rocky IV. The final scene on the steps between Robert and Rocky takes place in spring or in summer based on the trees and foliage. So there it is. Based on the movie's footage, we were all wrong. The movie spans from one Christmas to just after the next. Thanks for indulging my curiosity. I promise next time I'll message about a different topic, such as why Over the Top is underrated and ranks among the better half of Stallone's filmography. Albert, that is enough. No more Over the Top talk. Okay. So, yeah.
I like it.
18 months?
I'll take it. Your logic is sound, sir. I can accept that.
Though the aging of the child still does not make sense, which is a whole other. Okay.
We have to just accept this. We can't even try and figure it out. It is what it is.
Fair enough. Hey, one of our favorite members of this podcast, Katie, wrote in from her beachside resort. She goes, yo, great job, Ryan and Andy, covering for Kyle and me. Ryan, I had to write in to stop you from buying the Frank Stallone doll. That's true. There's a Frank Stallone toy doll, Kyle, by the way, we showed him last episode. And she goes on to say, have you not learned your lesson yet? Doesn't he still owe you $50? Yeah. For my bourbon. It's true. Out of principle alone, you must not give him the satisfaction. Miss you all. Aw, thanks, Katie. We miss you too. And we got one here from Miss you too. Yeah, I love you too. This is from Michael, the Screeners podcast dude. He goes, hi, one more round crew. I was listening to the discussion with Ryan and guest host Andy in episode 18. Andy's question about whether Rocky needed to lose the money to make the film work. I agree that he doesn't. Prompted me to share my thoughts on what I would have changed to make a better film without completely overhauling it. The film starts with Rocky and his family returning from the Soviet Union, and as they leave the plane, Rocky holds an impromptu press conference to announce his retirement. He has no desire to fight anymore, having honored Apollo's memory. Now you include a 5-year time jump. Rocky's running Mickey's gym, while Adrian manages the restaurant. Tommy shows up at the gym wanting to be trained. Rocky sees Tommy's potential and agrees to train him. Rocky becomes more invested in Tommy than Robert at the time, creating tension. Adrian notices this, leading to tension between her and Rocky. Keep George Washington Duke as the antagonist who turns Tommy against Rocky and supports him when he wins the title, usurping Rocky's place. Tommy then badmouths Rocky all over the media. Rocky comes out of retirement to put Tommy in his place. The final battle takes place in the ring, perhaps Las Vegas, in the same ring where Apollo died, as Duke's way of playing mind games with Rocky. The ending can go either way. Rocky wins, but is heartbroken over the fallout with Tommy, or it's a split decision. Tommy wins, and Tommy realizes he was wrong and makes amends with Rocky. It doesn't perfectly fix everything, but I think it would have made the film much more enjoyable for me. Keep up the great work.
I think whether he was a millionaire or not, I don't think he would retire properly and just leave boxing completely. So in Rocky 2, he does say, I've got to be around it. So even if he had the millions, I still think he'd be in boxing for some degree or other. So Absolutely. It does make sense he could be training still. And I think he'd like the idea of carrying on Mickey's legacy. Yeah,
that's a great point, Adrian. I never even thought of that, Rocky. You got to be around Mick. That's a great point, because I know he took over the restaurant. You could argue he did that to honor. I guess that's the thing he did. Because I was just thinking, like, why wasn't he doing anything with Mick's gym after the events of Adrian's death, just to be around it? You could almost have Robert running the restaurant and Rocky in the gym, because his love of Adrian's restaurant was more important than boxing.
Yeah. Because my issue with this is that Rocky did not give a shit about that gym for a long time.
No,
but he let that gym become abandoned and be in disrepair, and only started it again as a means to have a livelihood, and I guess to have some sense of purpose too. That is cynical for me to say that just the livelihood, but that was, I think, the primary reason. The idea that he has his millions and then retires, maybe he has like kind of thing that's, I have to be in boxing somehow. Hey, look, I have this gym that's in disrepair. I'll make up for this thing I've done in the past of leaving it languish. But I personally like Rocky being poor. Don't like the idea of Rocky in a mansion. It just doesn't fit well with me. I like him in the old neighborhood. I think that neighborhood in Philly is part of the series. It's a character in the show to me. Him in this palatial thing is just wrong, in my opinion. So I like that he lost his money.
He's pro Paulie. He's pro Paulie. Given that was
Paulie's innocent. I will argue anyone, anytime, any place.
My place is outside, Kyle. You're right about the aesthetics. I get it. It's tough because we love to see Rocky succeed. We love to see that he won the championship, but with that championship does come sponsors and money. And
I hate Rocky 3 and 4. This yuppie guy with a turtleneck. I love Rocky in 1 and 2, and then the other ones.
Yeah.
That's fair. Now, Adrian, you said you're a fan of Rocky 5.
I just defend it a lot. My friends, they can't stand it. My current co-hosts on the Arcade Attack and just general mates, we always talk about Rocky at the pub, it seems, and I always have to say, Rocky 5 isn't too bad after all. I think it's got a good heart to the story. And you mentioned it before, Sage Stallone, I always think, has done a good job in that particular film, and even Tommy Morrison, I thought, did a good job. They're interesting characters, and it was a bit more realistic than Rocky 4, and I really enjoy Rocky 4, but Rocky 5 is more gritty, and what Carl was saying earlier, it goes back to where it probably belongs a bit more. So there's a really good family drama there. I really like when you talked in the past about the changes you'd make, and I agree with most of the things you suggested. It missed the beat a few times, and the acting was hit and miss, wasn't it? But there's a good story there, and it's about being a dad as well, isn't it? And looking after your kid and making the right or wrong decisions. And whereas Rocky 4 is a bit, I don't know, it's over the top, bombastic, and it had to be walked down a few notches back to the realism, or it would have been ridiculous than Rocky 5, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, he's fighting in space, or he's fighting an actual like robot or something. It would have been too much. I agree. The series had to be grounded or stopped. Either you stop it at 4 and just let it be, or you ground the series. And it was, a lot of people feel it was done even better in part 6, which we'll get to. Put this way, I have more issues with the 6th film than I do with the 5th film.
So Ryan and I, we're gonna fight next.
Yeah.
Next one, we're gonna be butting heads 24/7 on this.
Nothing major, but just, I think, we'll get to that, of course. Okay, last email, and we'll get into the footage. This is from Gino, our favorite Italian Australian. He goes on to say, I watched episode 18 of Rocky 5 and heard the discussion about Rocky 5's flaws and how it could be improved. I disagree with your co-host, Andy. Rocky needs to lose his money. So he's with you guys there. Otherwise, the story doesn't work. That's why he's Gino. Without this, we wouldn't have Rocky 6 or the Creed films as they transpired. Rocky needed to return to his roots. Yeah. But he goes on to say that he created a Rocky 5 fan edit titled Rocky 5, the 1988 cut. I named it to create the illusion that it was set and hypothetically released in 88, as every other Rocky film sequel was released 3 years apart. I replaced all the 90s hip-hop with 80s pop music, and I listed the 16 edits I made in the description of my video promo. So he actually, on YouTube, tells you everything that he changed to the movie to make it more a better watch.
Okay, I just thought of something if you wanted to troll people really bad.
What's that?
So for Rocky 5, having a training montage, but then you have the song Take On Me by
Yeah.
That's awesome. He says the link is free to download. So he's got it stored in a Google Cloud, so you can download it. He says about 6 gigs of a movie. You can also stream it if you want. You put a lot of hard work into that. There you go. Yeah, Rocky 5 fan edit. That's pretty incredible. I think it's really cool. And I skimmed it already just to see the music replacements. I was just curious how that worked. It does sound better for sure. No offense to hip hop. It's a better sounding soundtrack with the 80s pop music that he replaced for that film. Okay, I'm just going to throw it out there. If you don't like the hip hop, it's because you're racist against Oh, geez. Here we go. I knew it. What do they ever do to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Baz, welcome to the show, Baz. He agrees, too, that with me that 5 is much better than Rocky Balboa Part 6. Wow. Much better, he says. Okay. So I think there's going to be some divisive opinions for good and bad for the 6th film. Again, I like all the Rocky films, but I like them for different reasons, and I don't like certain parts for different reasons. I think the only film that doesn't really garner any kind of criticism is the first film. There's just nothing I can really objectively. I'd have to think real hard what I would take out or replace, but that's a near perfect film. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think 2 people generally like 2 as well.
I think 2 is the same. I think 2.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick anything that I would really.
Wait a minute, where were those 2 set again? Or is that the old name? That's right, it was the old name.
Yeah, I know, you're right. I know. I think a lot of the criticism comes from the 3rd and 4th film going into it was 80s. It was a cocaine era. Like, we get it.
It could be a spoiler here, but I recently got the Balboa Steelbook 4K version, and it's a slightly different version on there. The director's cut. I wasn't sure which one you were going to watch and go through.
I don't own it. Can you send me the link after the show to... If you can even find it on Amazon.ca for me, because I'm having a hard time finding the actual.
Right.
Okay, all right. Because if I can buy it, I would rather just use that for the review. Yeah. Okay. All right. So here we go. We left off that Adrian saying goodbye to Rocky as he goes to the bar to wrap a couple brewskis around their lips, as Paulie suggested.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you the newest, the youngest heavyweight champion of all time, Tommy the Machine Gunn!
So I love in this moment right now, poor Tommy. He truly believes that everyone's here to wish me congratulations. And yeah, I'm the champion. I'm the youngest champion ever. He lifts up his belt, and then right away the questions come.
The rest of Rocky 5, we've said this before, are over the top. It's not like it starts out nice and then progressively gets more aggressive after some things get said. It's out of the gate. It's almost like being on like the Jerry Springer show or something like that. It is insane. I also want to point out my theory of Tommy Gunn is modeled after Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, when he won the championship in 1986, became the youngest ever heavyweight champion.
Yeah, that's definitely what Sly must be drawing by making Tommy the youngest to showcase his power, his strength, his raw aggressiveness in the ring, and maybe being a little bit blinded by those who are flashy. I think it's very clear that Sly is drawing from the Tyson storyline. The press right away, hey, congratulations, Tommy, on your win. However, there's no however. It's just, you're a piece of shit. You know that, Tommy?
I feel so bad for Tommy in this situation. Yes. It's not his fault that Rocky retired. Like, you could shit on him for ditching Rocky. If there's a question like, hey, why wasn't Rocky there in your corner? Why aren't you still with Rocky?
There's a scene that's quick, but they bring up something about Rocky. Oh. So here's the first question from this guy. Do you think the fight was too easy? Which in of itself isn't necessarily the winner's fault. Like, if the winner's just that much better, then they're just that much.
I know what I'd say if I was Tommy. I'd be like, hey, when you're as good as me, it looks easy, but it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
The fight was too easy.
Hey, hit me a few good shots, but I was never hurt. I'm just glad to be the champ.
Tommy, don't you think that this looked more like a Philadelphia sparring session at times instead of a championship match?
So are they insinuating that the fight was fixed? Is that the whole idea?
Championship fight should be like the ones Rocky and Apollo were fighting in, like super competitive, super brutal. It looked like Tommy beat the shit out of some amateur like you would in a sparring match.
Okay, of course the question does come up. It's a paper champion. So there's a part of me that always used to think for years, and I've been thinking things wrong throughout the years. So as it's been pointed out many times on this show, that the fight was a bit of a fix. That Kane was a plant. That not just was he a paper champion, but he was someone that could be beaten quite well by anyone who's just like there was no question that Union Kane was going to lose to Tommy. Like everyone knew, like George knew. But in theory, you could argue, does Union Kane get in a good shot and knock out Tommy? Could that have happened? I guess I never considered that. I always just figured Union Kane was absolutely going to get destroyed. It was a fix in that way that this guy had no business being the champion in a sense.
If you look at Mike Tyson, for example, most of his early fights were like 1 or 2 round fights where he easily destroyed people and didn't get hurt himself. There's a couple fights he had that went the distance, but they looked like the fight against Kane, or it's just like one guy destroying another. I don't think he got in the real life media got criticized like that. Like he got recognized as, hey, like this is the baddest man on the planet. This guy's just a phenom. He's insane. But for Tommy, he's not getting the same treatment for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And if I were Tommy in this situation, I'd say, hey, look, anyone who wants to challenge me, challenge me. I'll fight the number 1 contender. I'll fight anybody. Like you call me a paper champion. Who am I ducking?
Yeah, he's the champ. Can you imagine this press? Yeah, let's imagine Apollo Creed did knock out Rocky in the first film. Can you imagine this press after Apollo after that? What on earth?
Yeah, they'd be too afraid to talk to him that way.
That's true.
It looked like it broke a sweat.
Yeah, very observant. Union Kane wasn't feeling that good, but Tommy Gunn would have done the same thing if Union was 100%.
See? Why is he excusing, like, they're like, Union Kane didn't look up to snuff. He looked like he was out of breath, out of shape, whatever it is. And even George like, yeah, no, he wasn't 100%. He wasn't feeling good. But even if he was 100%, Tommy would have knocked him out. That's why I feel like there's something going on here.
I feel like if it was fixed, he wouldn't have admitted that anything was wrong with him, because then it makes it look like it's fixed.
But is this for the viewers? What I'm getting, like, is this dialogue for us, the viewer, to indicate that there's something shady going on?
I don't feel like Duke would have said that line, like that he wasn't feeling good. I think Duke would have been like, no, Union Kane was the champ. He fought the qualifier to become the champ.
Because look at Tommy's
he's
face.
The real deal. Tommy's just that good. And look at Tommy's face. It's not like it wasn't a glorified sparring session. Tommy took damage in that fight.
Oh, I meant just his expression. Like, it looks like there's some, like, a wash of information flooding his brain. What is going on here?
Because Duke's shit talking him, or Duke's going to say in a minute that, like, oh, of course he's no Rocky Balboa. But in time, he'll become.
Yeah, in time he will.
Bullock, you did have a heartbeat.
Come on. You know that Kane couldn't carry Balboa's gloves and fight away. Why was Rocky dumped?
Why was Rocky?
Why was Rocky done? So the first thing is, but that's what they said. Again, this is cut out. The guy says first, Union King doesn't even have the ability or he's not worthy to carry Rocky's gloves, let alone be in the ring fighting Tommy. So they're indicating that Union is just a terrible fighter. They shouldn't be carrying sports equipment.
Yeah,
and
wow.
That was cut out, mind you. Then, of course, the question was asked, which was also cut out, why was Rocky dumped?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, Tommy didn't answer it.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have knockers like Karen. What do you want me to tell you? Yeah. So, anyways, that was it. I found that little insertion there very interesting that they decided to cut out the question, why was Rocky dumped? I don't know why they cut that out, but there's no answer given either in the worker sprint. What's that, Adrian?
Yeah, I was just saying there was no answer, was it? There was
no, there was no answer. Yeah. So, paper champion. Now, they do explain what a paper champion is, but as a kid, I used to think it meant paper is it's weak, it's flimsy.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Why would you think any different as a kid?
Yeah.
knows that Kane is just a paper champion. Yeah, what do you mean by paper champion?
Even Tommy, what does that mean? Explain it to the poor folks at home who still don't understand.
Kane's title was manufactured. He never won it from Balboa.
Gentlemen, get aboard, break Union Kane.
How often does that happen?
It's happened a few times. Rocky Marciano, for example, never got his title taken from him, as in the 1950s, for mind you. Another example of a paper champion would have been initially when Joe Frazier became the champ, because Muhammad Ali lost his title because he wouldn't be inducted into the United States Army.
That's right.
And so Joe Frazier, I believe, became the next champion. If it wasn't right after, he would have taken it from whoever would have become the next champion. Muhammad Ali says, "You didn't take my title from me." If they had their big fight in 71 where Joe Frazier defeated Muhammad Ali, then after that, he's not the paper champion anymore because he actually defeated the person who was the last champion. It's happened a few times. Another example is Tyson Fury. He lost his title because he basically fell into depression and alcoholism and gained like 100 and something pounds. And he lost his belts, but he was still considered the lineal title holder because no one had defeated him. And then Fury was later defeated by Usyk. So Usyk is considered the undisputed legitimate champion. So it happens. It doesn't happen super often, but it does happen.
It's funny when you mentioned the gaining the 50. It reminds me of Jurgens. What did he say in Rocky 1? He goes,
I went to California, gained 50 pounds.
Yeah.
No, like Tyson Fury, I gained at least 100 pounds. Like,
whoa, really?
Like,
that much?
Oh, man. He was like super morbidly obese, and it was because he became like clinically depressed, and he was addicted to alcohol. So he was drinking like a fish and eating a ton of food. And Tyson Fury looks fat even when he's fighting. He'll say that. Like, I'm not trying to insult him.
No. Yeah.
I remember when I was showing Katie the fight that he was in, and Katie couldn't believe that he was like a legitimate boxer. And he's one of the great boxers, and they're not to take it away from him. Like, Tyson Fury was an excellent fighter, but he doesn't look like a typical boxer. Like, he looks like really overweight, even when he's in fighting shape. He was like 400 pounds or something. He was huge.
Wow. Yeah, he reminds me of the white Mason Line Dixon.
Yeah.
What's Mason doing right now, I wonder, in this universe? You know?
Yeah, I gotta show you the picture of how fat he was, just for your...
Sure. Okay, press conference continues. And I noticed here, watching this in slow time, that the lawyer's at the table. I don't know if you didn't notice that before. The lawyer that was in Rocky's office is there at the table. Isn't that weird? That's him on the left.
That guy was like the commissioner guy later on, or like Rocky Balboa.
You could argue that's his character arc. So he was a lawyer, and then Duke grabbed him to work with Duke to work around the medical files that Rocky gave. Oh, he gave the medical files to Duke. Yeah. Remember, how did you get those? Adrian asked, how did you get those? This lawyer guy gave it to Duke. That's why he's with him now. That's his arc. And then he joined the boxing commission later. And that's why he tried to deny Rocky his license.
Because he's seen the medical files like firsthand. He can't let him.
Oh, that's awesome. That's his arc. I love it. There's a whole movie arc with this guy.
It is for real. Tommy, you ever think you're going to get off from underneath Rocky Balboa's shadow? Man, I won the title. What more do I have to do? I'll tell you what you have to do. You got to fight some real opponents.
Okay. So this is where it doesn't make sense, because where was this kind of vitriol when he was 23-0? Were they saying that he wasn't a ranked contender, that he wasn't fighting real opponents? Let's just say Union Kane was a garbage champion. Fine. He swept. Somebody has to beat him. Somebody has to beat Union Kane. It's not Tommy's fault that Union Kane is a bad boxer. Why is that Tommy's fault? So this is what I don't understand what the vitriol is. So he's 22-0 up into this fight. He's knocked out all these people that are in the way for him to become ranked. Is that how ranking works? Am I dumb here? Like, you have to beat people that are ahead of you? He does that. Now he's ranked. He beats the champion, and he's right to be mad because what else do I have to do? I am now the champion. Who else do I have to beat to prove that I'm the champion?
I think
it's
unfair. A 15-round fight between Tommy and Mason. Sorry, Union, I should say. If it was a 15-round fight battle, and it was knockout in the last round, maybe that's a bit different. Maybe it was just a bit too easy for Tommy.
But I don't know why they're so mad that he beat because he says what you have to do is fight real opponents. That's what that guy said. You have to. That's what I'm getting at. So everyone that Tommy has fought have been handpicked.
Yeah, I know, it's bullshit. Like, you could say that it reminds me of Rocky Balboa in the sense that like Mason Dixon kept knocking people out. And like the guy said, Mason Dixon is being not blamed for not just the decline of the heavyweight division, but the entire sport. So like people could be upset that like the era in boxing is like you have a bunch of bad quality fighters. That's one criticism of Mike Tyson is that he wasn't fighting like the Muhammad Ali's and the George Foremans and the Joe Frazier's. Like the 70s was an amazing era in boxing where you had like a ton of like generational talents that you didn't necessarily have in the 80s or 90s, that, although there are some excellent fighters from those eras. But people generally criticize Tyson saying that, okay, you got all these knockouts, but who are you knocking out really? And maybe they're saying that of Tommy. It's okay, yeah, you did fight your way to the top, but it's like all these fighters suck compared to what we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing Apollo Creeds. We're used to seeing Clubber Langs. We're used to seeing Rocky Balboas, and you're not fighting any of those guys.
Okay, so my question, this I know it's the trope of the film. I know it's a Rocky film, but these reporters don't know they're in a Rocky film. If these NPCs shouldn't act like they're in a Rocky film, they should be acting like reporters. So what I mean by this is, had it been, I know, Buddy Miles who won this championship, is Buddy getting the same treatment the press? So is the press angry that Union Kane sucks, or are they angry that Tommy won, or is it just because it is Tommy dumped Rocky that they hate Tommy?
They're totally unprofessional here.
Yes, that's what I mean. They're so mad that their favorite boxer got dumped by this guy that they're just attacking Tommy.
What really sticks in my craw for this scene, which we'll see, I always mix them up who they are, Stu Nahan or Bill Ball.
Yes,
and one of those two makes that comment about the redhead. I'm like, I love those guys. Like, why would they be like this? One of these guys is the ones that got offended from the Italian comment, right? Now he's, hey, get that redhead with the big tits over here. Come on.
I think it is that guy. Which one is the older guy with the gray hair and glasses? That's
now,
right.
That same guy is, get the redhead to fight. I heard she comes cheap. I'm like, what?
Right? And I beat the best tonight. The best? This guy's a bum. He doesn't even deserve a shot at the title.
So again, they're still crapping on Kane. They just do not think Kane should have ever been champion, and thus Tommy beating him is Tommy's fault. Even if it's true that Union Kane is a plant, it's a script, why is that Tommy's fault?
It's not Tommy's fault. Like, they're being unreasonable.
I've got a little theory.
Sure.
Maybe the press maybe know that there's something dodgy going on with Union Kane and Duke and Tommy. It's all been a slightly fixed situation.
Sure.
They're not allowed to bring it up. For example, Manchester City, they've got 115 charges against them, a football team. It's still in court. It's been in court for almost 2 years now. If they're found guilty, they're going to be relegated probably to 3 divisions maybe, and all their titles could be taken off them. But the press can't really talk about it. They're not allowed to talk about it. They've got to bite their tongue. And when Man City win trophies, it's almost a little bit congratulations, but there's something dodgy going on here, and they have to hold the line very carefully. They actually lost an FA Cup final yesterday to Crystal Palace, actually. So my local Croydon team, I don't support them, but fair play to Palace. They beat Manchester City, and you could just tell how much it meant to a much smaller team. But I just think maybe the press can't legally go directly at him saying you're fixing all this up, and they're just trying to find different angles to shoot Tommy and especially Duke down a bit here, possibly.
In the United States, they take their First Amendment very seriously. I think they feel like they can say whatever they want. Although you don't want to say something that's like libelous necessarily.
Now, Union Kane was the recognized champ. Next question.
We know the rating system can be manipulated. The bottom line is Tommy Gunn beat a second-rate fighter with so much glass in his jaw he ought to be a chandelier.
So there is the accusation that it's fixed. You know what's interesting? I wonder if Rocky Balboa got this kind of treatment when he was fighting all these hand-picked fighters before Clubber Lang.
That's what I mean.
This is exactly what was happening with Rocky, but everyone's, you're the man, Rocky. Don't worry about it. We love you, buddy. He's the people's champ.
Yeah.
I think the real issue is they don't like Tommy on a personal level. And people are butthurt that Rocky's disappeared. People loved Rocky so much that, you cannot fill his shadow. If you break up with a girl, she's going to hate whoever you're with next.
Yes, of course.
And all her friends are going to hate whoever you're with next. It's just, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Hey, what you want? But this man will prove to be a great champion.
He might win a few fights, but a Rocky Balboa he'll never be.
No.
There you go. It's all come out now. Now it's all come out. Yeah.
And he's not wrong. And to be honest, if you're Tommy Morrison in this case, say in this situation, let's say in some alternate universe, Tommy Gunn independently worked his way up to fight Rocky Balboa in the ring. They didn't know each other. And Tommy Gunn defeated an older Rocky Balboa. You can't claim that just because you defeated Rocky Balboa that you're a better fighter than he ever was. Trevor Berbick defeated Muhammad Ali. No one's saying Trevor Berbick's better than Muhammad Ali. Like, you fought a way past his prime version, right? As a young champion, you cannot claim that you're this kind of legacy fighter just because you beat a legacy fighter. But it's still hard to hear. And as the press, you should be like saying that after someone just became a champion. Unless Tommy claimed it. Unless Tommy's saying, hey, I'm the best there ever was. Then you say a Rocky Balboa you'll never be. But, like, why bring it up?
He's no Rocky Balboa, let's face it, there's only one Balboa. Now, Balboa was a true people's champion, but in time, Tommy Gunn may be able to fill his shoes. Next one.
Not by fighting stiffs like Kane, he won't. I'll fight anybody, anywhere.
So not fighting stiffs like this poor Union Kane. I would love to see his reaction to this whole press conference. The poor guy's got an ice pack over his eye in the dressing room. They are just dragging me through the mud. This was a part of the deal, George Washington Duke. Like, he is just getting raked over the coals. We never see his reaction. These are like mean tweets times 1,000.
Yeah, this is like the YouTube comments became a press corps, and now it's talking to Tommy Gunn.
Look at this guy's face here. Look at this. Who? When are they going to fight? They're so animated. They just want to see Tommy beat the shite out of somebody really powerful. They're saying everything but Rocky's name.
Yeah, I tell this guy, I'm like, it's going to be you next if you don't calm down, buddy.
When are you going to fight a real fight?
Gentlemen, come on. Boy, thank you for coming tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you.
Hey, Tommy, I got something for you. For your next fight, why don't you fight the redhead in the front row? I hear she comes real cheap. What about you?
We look forward to seeing you at Tommy.
Stu.
Was that Stu that did that? Was that Stu?
Stu Nahan, I'm quite sure. Why would they do that to you, buddy? Like,
rest in peace. His last line. It's funny. His legacy. His last line in a Rocky franchise is that he's shaming Karen.
Maybe this is ignorance on my part, but since when are commentators also in the crowd doing questions like that? I feel like this is beneath him. Why did you do this to him? You had so many other aggressive reporters.
I do love that he's at the press conference. I got that cheap shot. And you like that, guys? He's all high-fiving the reporters afterwards.
Luckily, Bill Baldwin wasn't brought into this. He might talk shit about Italians, but at least he knows better than to do something like this.
Oh, man.
Why the hell did you say Balboa's better, man? Do you believe he's better?
Of course not. We can't talk to you, huh?
Oh, hold on. Did Duke say, of course he's better, or of course he's not better? It didn't actually show up in the captions there. You just hear him say it. Can we listen to it again real quick?
Yeah.
Man, do you believe he's better?
Of course not. We can't talk to you, huh?
Of course he's not. That's what he said.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't mean it, does he?
No.
Yeah, no. It's kind of like Rocky Balboa, or it's imagine if Dixon fought this guy in his prime. Kill him.
Yeah. When are you going to fight the next fight, Tommy?
I always love that. The door getting blocked on Karen so she can't come down with them.
Karen has served her usefulness now. Duke has the contract signed, and so Karen is going to be suddenly less interested in him now.
This is a great sequence here of Tommy just blowing his lid. He kept his cool as best as he could, even though he did a couple outbursts. But now he's just going to be like, his true feelings in this whole incident is going to come out here.
Think back to when you were 20 years old or 21 or however Tommy is, and how mature or immature you were. Imagine being faced down by a bunch of people like that and insulted like that and being mixed up with all these Don King type of people. That is way too much for a young person like that. Like, your brain isn't fully developed till you're 25, and even then it's, come on. Like, you still lack a lot of life experience. You've also taken a lot of headshots. That's a pretty rough position for Tommy to be in. I couldn't imagine how I'd feel right now.
What the hell happened in there? I won the damn title and these people think I'm a bum. Man, why didn't you take that from me in there?
Oh, listen to me. When the press is right there.
Man, I'm as good as Balboa ever was. I don't give a damn what they say. And I'm tired.
Ooh, that's not true. That's not true.
ego, right? These guys are so egotistical. You have to think you're the best.
Sure.
To do well, even if that's patently false.
Yeah, I'm not a fighter. I'm not a competitor, so it's not my nature to think this way. I'm highly objective, almost self-deprecating to a fault. But does he truly believe he's better than Rocky ever was? Does he truly believe he can beat Drago? Does he think in his mind, I could beat Drago?
He's a young, dumb guy who thinks that. Maybe in his heart of hearts, he might doubt that, but you just became the heavyweight champion of the world, so you're thinking pretty highly of yourself right now.
And he is the youngest. He is young. So
better than Balboa ever was is a hard statement to make.
He should have said at the age of 19, I'm better than Balboa, which is probably true.
Yeah.
I think 19-year-old Tommy would beat up 19-year-old Rocky.
Actually, I want to see what you think of this. Rocky in his first fight with Apollo versus Tommy with his fight with Union King.
Ooh.
Well, that's a good fight.
That's an interesting scenario.
Because I think we all agree that the Rocky 4, Rocky 3, Rocky would kill Tommy Gunn. Yeah. But
I just wanted to go the distance with Tommy. No one's ever gone the distance with Tommy before.
I think Tommy would lose. I think Rocky hits too hard and can take too much punishment. The fact is, 40-something-year-old Rocky with no training beats up Tommy in a street fight. So,
yeah,
he's really not that good. It's funny that Duke is saying that when they're right, they're right. But I guess this is also his ploy to get him to fight Rocky.
And yeah, now he's tired of being called a damn robot too. That's true. There's only one robot in the Rocky franchise, and that's Seiko.
I've been called a damn robot too.
Listen to me, Tommy Gunn. You can't fight the press. I can't fight the dog press. And as long as they got Balboa in the brain, he'll always be champ. The man fought wars in the ring.
That's a great nod to the fourth film. I like that. He fought wars in the ring.
That's borrowed from Ali. People talked to how Muhammad Ali fought wars in the ring.
Oh, nice. Okay. But I like how it's a nod to, of course, the American-Russian war in that ring.
I mean, face facts. You're in his shadow. I don't know if there's any way out. This is your old man talking.
No. Listen to me.
He's pissed there. He is pissed. It's like even your own man. I love how he calls him your own man. He doesn't have a name. What's his name anyways? Your own man. That guy over there has been following you around. What's his name anyways?
Scientifically speaking, when you're angry like this, your IQ is lower. You cannot really think straight when you're this pissed off. He's very vulnerable to manipulation right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Adrian, how low is your IQ? Or would you?
If I was in Tommy's shoes, it'd be a lot lower. But he needs to just go home and chill out, and then have a meeting the next day. Say, it's not been a good. You've won the championship. Congratulations. Let's take a couple of days breather. Then we'll think of our next move.
I think he should go to Andy's bar and get a drink. I think he needs to relax and celebrate.
There's a way for you to get the respect you deserve, but what you got to do is challenge Balboa to fight man to man.
That's right, George. You can set this fight up abroad in a matter of weeks.
Oh, yeah, it'd be the greatest fight ever. Teacher against student, old lion against young lion. And it's the only way you're ever going to get peace of mind, because believe me when I tell you, that press is going to hound you with that man's legend for as long as you dare to wear boxing gloves.
Now, every time I see this scene, it reminds me of the first time I saw the film in the theaters, age 15, 1990. There was still a small part of me that hoped and believed.
Yes.
This is what, because that's how good George's or Richard Gant's acting here as George Duke.
Superb. I love that character
because it convinces me, the viewer, that this is going to happen.
I didn't see this live, but I remember when I first saw this movie, I was younger than 15. And I remember thinking in my head, I'm like, Jesus, this movie's been going on a while.
Sure, yeah.
Like, when are they got to get to the fight with Rocky?
Yeah. That should have been an indicator there, because I saw this before the internet, of course, before spoilers. I saw it opening day in the theaters, and I hadn't been told that the fight doesn't happen in the ring yet.
Yeah.
So I went as a viewer, and I knew the trailer was ambiguous, and that always bothered me. I remember thinking, why are they not showing the ring? I just remember even thinking, I'm nervous. Why are they not showing the ring? They did show a street fight. I remember they showed images of a street fight, and I'm thinking, why is there no ring? So at this point here, I'm like, oh, they're saving it for the movie. They're saving it for the movie. And I'm like, okay. Anyways, we know I've said ad nauseum, but we'll keep going.
You got to get him into that ring, Tommy Gunn. Or you're going to be getting questioned like you heard tonight for the rest of your life. Then you're going to start to ask yourself, could I really take him? Am I really good enough? Do people really think I'm a cheap carbon copy or a second-rate pretender who only got a shot because of my skin tone? got to challenge that man to fight Tommy Gunn. And if he refuses, then you got to insult him. You got to dog him. You got to humiliate him. You got to do whatever you got to do to get him into that ring. But that's what you got to do.
So what does he do? He calls him Yellow. Are you yellow, Rocky?
Oh, you see, yes, from the Old West. That's how they do things out in Oklahoma.
I guess that's true. That's right.
You got to go to the saloon, which is Andy's, and you got to challenge him to a duel outside. And if you don't accept it, you're yellow. It's basically a Philadelphia Western.
I never even considered that he's from where he's from, because I thought it was so funny. Are you yellow?
Okay, blast off, roll and silver. And down. Andy, flippers ain't flipping. You Andy.
Hey, that machine cost me a fortune.
Yeah, it costing me a fortune, too.
Rocky Balboa.
What the hell was that?
Rocky Balboa, there's a man out here wishing to speak with you. Rocky Balboa.
I just love the idea that George is out there, Rocky Balboa. It's like the bellowing voice cutting through the din of Andy's bar, the pinball machine and everything. I just love the idea that his voice is heard like a megaphone.
Imagine if this happened when social media existed at the time. Like if George Washington Duke can get on TikTok or like YouTube live stream or whatever.
This is what's crazy. He's got a newscast with him right now. The light that you see is a news camera. That's a professional camera, because you'll see later when that comes up, the guy says really quick, "We gotta go live. We gotta go live." So they're not filming, like they're not live. They're filming right now. But when they start fighting, the newscaster guy says, "We got to go live." They're going to live stream the fight on NBC affiliate, whatever, Philadelphia. It's just so weird. We're just getting a report right now. We're cutting in live to a street fight between Tommy Gunn and Rock. Do you think they would cut in live on a news station for real?
Oh, yeah, they would.
Do you think they knocked Adrian first, like thinking Rocky was there with the big camera in her face? Is Rocky in?
Yeah, you're right. How do they know to go to Andy's bar?
Well, okay.
Yeah, Adrian. Yeah, you're gonna find him at the bar, but
I can imagine maybe you can have a little scam where you have someone call the house and be like, "Hi, we're from like NBC or whatever. Yeah. We're hoping to get Rocky's comment on the fight." And Adrian's like, "Well, Rocky's not in right now. Could you tell me where he is? Like maybe we could reach him there." She's, "Oh, he's at Andy's." It's okay, now he's at Andy's.
But I can see Adrian loving her husband so much, just saying, "I don't think he wants to be talked to right now."
Yes, I agree with you, Ryan. I'm trying to find something.
I know, you're right. You're right. I'm actually trying to find it too. I'm trying to think of how do they know he was there? Anyways.
You could probably say that maybe Duke was by the house, although Adrian, I think, would maybe try and find him first at Andy's. But maybe they had been searching for a while and they don't show that search, and now they finally found him, and now they're showing him.
Maybe. They probably talked to Chicky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rocco, you know who that is, huh?
Yeah, I know who that is.
Well, Rock, you need some help?
No, guys, ain't no fighting contest.
Okay. Oof. Come on, man. I got a couple pounds on me. That's not very nice, Rocky. Why did he just throw his buddies under the proverbial bus there? You guys are fat. I don't need your help.
This is how, like, guys were, especially back in the day. Like, you just shit on each other all the time. It's like
the one guy actually puts his hands like, "Hey, that was a little."
What the fuck was it? Yeah. What are you busting my balls for?
And that guy comes into play later in the Workers Print. This guy here with the blue cap. Yeah. I don't know if they're necessarily friends, him and Rocky. Because Rocky, you'll see snaps at him. You'll see. It's interesting.
Look what's in the street.
Yo, Tommy, what are you doing here? You ought to be out there celebrating, right?
But I'm challenging you to a fight. Anytime, any place, anywhere.
Fight?
That's right.
You're coming down here with these people asking me if I want to throw hands with you? Is that what this is about?
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Now, what's your answer?
Answer? I told you you should have never let them get between us, Tommy. You should have never sold out.
But I ain't sold out.
And I ain't nobody.
There you go. So that's the Workers Print there. I told you never to let them get between us, not to let them sell you out or whatever. Do you think they should have kept that, or they took it out?
I think you should have kept it, but I don't think it's material.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And then it cuts right back to him. So look, the news cameras, it's already filming. It's filming the challenge. I think that's the idea, is they're filming the challenge, make that part of the pay-per-view event maybe. They're documenting the challenge, which is not a bad idea. That's good for the money because you're showcasing the challenge that Tommy offers Rocky, and to prove to the world that Rocky either turns it down or not.
This reminds me of like reality TV now, even though this existed way before reality TV.
I do love the fur coats. I know this is Katie's favorite wardrobe here. Look at the fur coats of both George and Karen are wearing. Just full on, just. Oh,
I actually think nowadays, and not just because of the animal thing, but just the aesthetics of a fur coat is bizarre.
It does look weird. It does look weird.
Nobody's robot. Nobody's boy. Now you accepting the challenge or you yellow?
He has no class. Come on, Rob. Hey, he has no class. Come on.
If Paulie says that, you can take class.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Hey, your boy ain't him, you know.
See, Paulie says it again. He says it's not there in the captions, but he actually says, he ain't worth it. And the Rock says, no, it ain't him.
I think he's still defending Tommy. He sees Tommy as just this, like a puppet or a robot that got manipulated by Duke. Instead of Rocky's robot, he's Duke's robot now.
So he's saying it ain't him. So it goes, don't worry about it, Rocky. He ain't worth it. Rocky's way of saying it ain't him. I mean, is he saying it's not his fault he's this way?
Yeah, I think so. Because if Paulie insulted Duke here, Rocky wouldn't have an issue with that. But he's still defending Tommy's. Hey, you should be celebrating. I don't think he said congratulations, but that was a sentiment. He wasn't aggressive. He was quite friendly out of the gate. Like it wasn't until Tommy was like openly challenging him to fight. And even then, he's like, "Hey, you shouldn't have done this." He sold out, but he never insulted Tommy. He was never mean to him. Part of him still is in Tommy's corner.
You want to shoot some meatball or something?
Hey! Man, I ain't through talking with you yet.
Hey, look, Tommy, I ain't got no more to say to you, okay? Look, I just want good things for you.
Oh, hell you did. Man, you're only in this for the...
I like that little callback there. I just wanted good things for you from the Rocky 2 film. I want the kid to have good things.
Oh, yeah. Never made that connection.
I just wanted good things for you, Tommy.
It's weird. He just said you were just in this for the money. From my understanding, Rocky made $0 out of this.
Yeah.
They made a little bit. I agree, not very much, but I think they did make some money. I think they were doing better.
In the deleted scene you showed me earlier, they asked if Rocky had a contract and if how much money he's made.
There was no contract, but I think
didn't Paulie ask him how much he's making, and he said none. That he'll take care of him later or something. I'm pretty sure he made no money.
Yeah, Tommy was getting money, I think, but that's what Paulie was worried about. That Tommy was getting money and Rocky was. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Money.
Yeah,
I'm tired of walking around in your shadow, man. People call me your robot.
You thought I was in this for the money, Tommy? We were supposed to be like brothers. You don't remember that? You don't know this, man. You know that all the times we was talking and everything. Hey, Duke, I'm talking here, okay? Do you mind what I tell him? Dude, what you got here is a scam, Tommy. You know, you don't know this, man. You got a deception going here. This guy here, he was using you for the bait. He wants to get you and me in the ring. That's what he wants us to fight each other, to make the money. The money. That's what it's all about with you. He don't care about you. Tommy don't care about me neither.
Yeah. If I was Rocky, I'd be like, hey, if I made so much money off you, look where I am right now. You see where we are? What are you talking about?
I think the potential money was the idea.
But it backs up what Kyle was saying, as in Rocky isn't that angry at Tommy. He's just saying, look, you're being swept along in this charade. Here's the real villain.
Yeah.
Wise up. And he's not actually that angry even now at Tommy, is he? He's just disappointed and a bit like, oh, wake up, mate.
And it's funny, he's using his son's words like a deception.
Yes.
Like, beware of deceptions.
But no, and again, that was another Workprint scene. And I love how he's just like, hey, buddy, I'm talking to him. Like, keep your mouth shut, Duke. I'm talking, because Duke starts chirping in his ear while Rocky's talking to him. And he actually says, hey, Duke, can you stop? I'm actually talking to him right now. Can you stop chirping in his ear while I have a conversation with Tommy? And Duke's like, back at him.
Come on. Enough of the fantasy. Let's talk reality. Rocky Balboa.
I just want to note, I didn't notice before, but Karen is popping up pretty good there on the right. If you're I never caught that until this. Yeah, she's over there on the right, folks. I like how she's leaning over. Remember me? I'm over
Karen
here.
is, I'm not doing anything with you until you beat Rocky Balboa in the ring.
You know what Paulie's looking at right now, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Are you prepared to accept Tommy Gunn's challenge?
Tommy.
All right.
Hey! Hey, man, I would have taken you anytime. Hey, Tommy, you're a piece of garbage, you know that?
Hey, this ain't none of your business.
Ain't none of my business.
Come on, Floyd.
Ain't none of my business.
Floyd, forget about
The
it.
man spit blood for you, put your head in his own family, and you bring these rat bums around here.
Tommy.
Huh?
Tommy,
You kill his dignity? Rocco made you your shot, you know that? He's the real champ. You're just a goddamn joke. Now, just get out of here before I break the flip.
Tommy, come on.
Now, before the punch comes, now, I'm not saying Tommy should have punched Paulie. I'm not saying that is an allowable behavior.
He should have pushed him.
But calling a ramped up 19-year-old kid who's very amped up a GD joke.
And then shoving him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying it's you just shoved a very amped up, angry 19-year-old boxer.
And that's when he knew he fucked up.
That's where you put that in. That's hilarious. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. And here we go. Kaboom.
What? Break your hand on that bummer. What are you worth then, huh?
Did you ever catch that before? That's what Duke says.
No, I didn't catch that.
So for our audio listeners, who don't see the captions, George says you can hear it once you know what he's saying, but the captions do catch it correctly, saying you break your hand on this guy's face, and what are you worth? Like, you don't break your hand on Paulie's face, because now that's going to ruin everything here.
He'd be dumped, wouldn't he, if he did break his hand like that? He's not worth it anymore.
And you see how Duke views him is like a piece, like a commodity.
The golden goose.
You're worth nothing to me if you break your hand. I haven't got them insured yet. Basically, it's not like, hey, you could go to prison for that. You just committed assault. You could end your career this way. It's like, hey, you're worth nothing to me with a broken hand. It's not worth. You could break your hand on Rocky's face. That's fine as long as it's in the ring and I'm making money off of it.
and Karen ain't following you out there, mate. If you break your hand.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. The Tommy with a broken hand would be the same if Karen took out her implants. It would be useless.
Okay? You should have left him on the street where you found him.
Get off me, man! Right out here, huh? Merlin! Get him out of here! Get him out of here! Move out! Get him out of here! Get him out of here, Merlin! Tommy! Get off me!
Now, you knocked him down. Why don't you try knocking me down now?
No. In the ring. Tommy Gunn only fights in the ring. Let's get out of here.
My ring's outside.
Yeah. Let's do it.
And that's what 15-year-old Ryan's like, no, Rocky, no, you're so close. If you just said, fine, in 3 months, I'll meet you there. Flash forward 3 months later.
Alternative, you could go to that local ring that's just down the street.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
We'll fight there. We'll fight at the church.
Mixed gym might not have been a bad idea, too. And then Mickey's ghost would have been that mixed gym. Get up, you son of a bitch.
I love that.
All right, so we're almost done here. There is a Workprint sequence here that is very interesting, which will bleed into the final fight, but it's a very telling sequence of where Rocky's head is really at during this moment.
Come on, Tommy! Let's go live! Go live! People gotta wait. Come on here! Kill this here, bum! He's nuts! Take him back! You gotta take him down!
So you hear the chatter there. Those are the patrons saying to Rocky, kill this bum. He's nothing. Kill him. Okay, they're tripping at his ear to like take down this guy, kill him.
Everyone loves a good street fight.
Yeah.
This reminds me of being in school again, and at like recess or lunch, people get into it and the crowd forms. There's something in our DNA that loves seeing two people beat the shit out of each other.
Sure. That's why UFC is so popular, right?
Yeah.
Right that way. He's a tough, Rocky, I'm telling you. Balboa street fight. You a prize fighter. Don't be a damn. Hey, you don't own me. Take it easy, Tommy. You do own me.
Okay, two quick things happen. So you got the guy in the blue baseball cap pie eating contest guy telling Rocky, he's a punk, you can kill him type thing. So he's tripping in his ear. And then Duke's, hey, you're a prize fighter, you're not a street fighter. I can see where this is going. He's not wrong. Like, he's not dumb. And this sequence too with Tommy yelling, you don't own me. What does this remind you of from another film in the Rocky franchise? This sequence here. Rocky 4 when he Drago grabs
of course. Yeah.
I fight for me. Or whatever the Russian version of that was. What did he say? What dude? Yeah. Right. So the idea is that's cool though, that this is actually the same thing. You got both these fighters saying, I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing this for you.
Take it easy. Nobody does. I want my respect. I deserve my respect.
Okay, so now we're getting to the workers' print. Check this part out here, and this will be the final scene here.
In order to be a great fighter, you gotta be a great fighter. Remember?
Okay, so for our audio listeners, so Tommy says it's kind of hard to hear because he's talking to Rocky. He says, to be a great fighter, you got to beat a great fighter. So he's looking at Rocky, goes, remember? Rocky's now looking over at the camera that's filming this live on the live stream. He's listening to the people's violent, very angry, kill him, kill him, kill him. This is very telling because this is not Rocky. This is not his character to be this way. And this workers' print showcases it so beautifully, and it breaks my heart they took it out.
He's like, what are you yelling about, huh? He just wants to bully you. You think this is a dog fight? Is that what you want, a dog fight? Yeah, take him down. You don't know nothing about it. None of you do. I don't believe it. None of you. I don't want this time. Hey, you're not getting out of this. I don't need this. Bullshit, man. You yellow. I told you was yellow. I ain't yellow. I ain't yellow. I care about you more than he'll ever care about you. You know that? Someday you're going to figure that out. But my life is going good now. Really good. You gotta get your life going. Hey, man, I ain't no.
Ooh. Yeah, that's so much better than what was there before. Two guys gonna get sucker punched right now, but still.
Well, that's what this leads to. So yes, here's the sucker punch. So it's interesting music they use. Of course, it's just a workers' print. It's the final bell music, but audio listeners again. So Rocky, after he says that, he says to Tom, "Look, my life's good right now. I actually don't need this. I don't need this street fight. I don't need to prove myself to you." I love that moment. He goes, "My life is good. I've got my kid back. I'm okay." He recognizes, I'm okay that you're a champion. I'm okay that. And then Tommy sucker punches him. Yeah, I agree, Baz. Why? Why did this get cut? I don't know. And I don't want to spoil the final fight, but what leads into that sucker punch? Well, I'll give a quick tease. So that sucker punch leads into Tommy just kicking the shit out of Rocky for the next 30 seconds. That's all it is. It's really heartbreaking. And it totally changes the whole final fight sequence. Now, they will take that fighting of Tommy beating up Rocky and they edit it differently into the more of a back and forth into what we see in the theatrical cut. But how the final fight takes place and what really happens is so much better than the theatrical cut. From that moment on, when Rocky says, "My life is good. I'm in a good place," onward, and the workers' print should have been the final cut, period. It would have redeemed the street fight a little bit more.
Yeah, it shows Rocky's growth as a person and his character. And also that Rocky is actually, despite his profession, a very non-violent, non-confrontational person. Fighting is his job, but it's not who he is. Like violence is a means to something, but it's even real boxers, like some of them actually do hate each other, but a lot of the times like guys can be punching each other out, but then it's like they understand that it's a sport and then it's not like there isn't bad intentions behind those punches. They could say good fight at the end. It's not the same thing as a street fight where you're punching someone with bad intentions and you're really trying to hurt somebody.
So what do you think, Adrian? Should they have kept that little part in or what?
Yeah, I think so, because it did. Carl's spot on. It did show how Rocky. That's who he is. He's a nice person. He's got a great heart, and he took a little bit of time to calm himself down. And he saw everyone around him baiting for like a bloodbath or like a coliseum, like gladiator fight. And that's not him. He's like, "Whoa, this is not what I want." Actually, it's live on TV. It's embarrassing for my family. I'm better than this. I'm supposed to be a role model to my son. That clicked, didn't it? The previous few scenes. So you're right. I think that was really good. They should have kept it 100%.
The reason why they didn't is because they changed the fight. Does that make sense? After that moment with Rocky having that realization, like, I don't need this. I'm actually in a good place. I don't need to be the champion. I don't need to be the people's champ. I have my family. Remember this movie should have been the fight for my family, or the greatest fight of his life is for his family. And now he's won it at the end of this movie. He's won it. And it showcased more in the workers' print that he won his family back.
Can you imagine if they said, Tommy was like, "Yep, actually you're right, let's not fight," and that's the end of the movie. They'd be like, "What?"
They're like they hug it out at the end.
The final episode will be episode 20, Rocky 5 will be the final episode of this season where we do the workers print fight. If you don't like that we did that, just go back and listen to Going the Distance, the original run, where we talk about the theatrical version of this movie. There's not much more to add. It's just a street fight, I think. But I think the workers print will be worth dissecting, and I look forward to doing that with Katie and Kyle on the next episode. But before we leave, Adrian, thanks for coming on and becoming a third chair on this discussion. We appreciate your insights and your support of the show. We do appreciate it. And again, tell people where they can find you. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. I've really had a good time today, and I love your guys' show. It's brilliant. You can find my podcast, Arcade Attack, on, Apple, Spotify, everywhere, really, YouTube. Just Google it, YouTube it, whatever, we'll find it. So, yeah. Now, really excellent show, and well done on Rocky 5. The discussion, especially using the workers print, has been incredible. I feel one day maybe with AI, the workers print could be tied up. I'm not a bit of a love-hate relationship with AI, but maybe that's the future. Who knows, eh?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for what AI could do for some of these things. Not just to see fan edits are fun. And I think AI would help with fan edits. So I think it'd be fun to see people's versions of it. So I'm looking forward to that in 20 years. Okay. With that, though, this episode is over.
I didn't hear no bell.
I just want to say